Let's see. Yes, okay, we are live on Restream. Twitch has got us. Now I got to check YouTube, which is a more elaborate process. It looks like we are live, but of course I got to update all the stream information, so let me do that real fast. Come on, YouTube. Show me my channel. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to quickly change all of the stream info. No, it's not made for kids. Gaming. State of Decay 2. Juggernaut Edition. There's a description. And, oh, I can even do a thumbnail. A thumbnail in there. Okay, save. Hopefully this works. Okay, yes, it is updated. Hopefully we've got the right thumbnail in there. I'm still learning how to use the new system for going live on YouTube, but I think everything is working correctly. So, hi everyone. We're starting the proper stream in about 18 minutes, but welcome to the pre-stream. You can see over there we've got a guest, somebody who we haven't had on here for a while, Eric Anderson. Say hi.
Hello, how's it going, everyone? Glad to be here.
Eric Anderson is a programmer, and he's also the head of our Gameplay Strike team, and so he's here to talk about all the little details, all of the smaller features and bugs we fixed, especially one in particular that was accidentally teased 2 weeks ago. That was his baby, and so we'll probably start there. You guys probably, if you've been here watching the stream, you probably know what I'm talking about. So we'll show that feature and a bunch of others, and yeah, it's the Patch Notes stream. We don't have a release date for the update yet, so if you're asking about that, we do not have the information for you yet. We are getting closer. It's real soon, but we don't have a date. So it'll just be soon. I mean, we're doing the Patch Notes stream. It can't be that far away. But yeah, we don't have an exact date to give you quite yet. Oh, Arnu Steele asks, what's the question mark slider option? The whole point is to kind of leave that to you to sort of infer what it means for us to have 5 notches on the sliders, and one of them's question marks and doesn't do anything. It's an exercise for the reader.
No.
Oh, we got people announcing where they're from. Gang is from Russia. Welcome from Russia. What time is it?
Wow.
It's got to be late at night in Russia. All the way over there, eastern end of Europe. So, Nighthawk asks, how often do Eric Anderson and Aaron Anderson get misheard in the office?
A lot. a lot of emails or Slack messages going to the wrong person, where it's just like, well, I don't understand the context for this question. And then it takes me a while to process and be like, oh, wait, wrong. Okay, yeah. No.
Someone's asking me really producery questions for some reason.
Yeah. Or like, you've been granted control over this meeting. I'm like, okay, sure.
Oh, wow. So Carrie Louise says it's almost 11 p.m. in the UK, so it can only be later in Russia. Augie Green says greetings from Ireland. And U.S. Executive Services LLC says they're from Michigan. That is a very specific username you've got there. Are you logged into your business account? That's interesting. Oh, hey,
Alan Trex from
Vault
Poland.
from Germany was watching my personal stream the other night, last night, I guess, and is here today. Welcome, Wald. I was trying to figure out how German worked on the air, and it was not going well. So they were very tolerant of me. Court says, "I see Brant." It was like a wild Brant just appeared briefly.
Just briefly. They don't let me out of the cage very much.
Yeah, I've got it set up that whoever talks last is the one whose face is going to be on there. So, because Eric's going to be the one reading the patch notes, it's probably going to be back and forth between me and him a lot, and Brant's going to be the one who's watching for your questions, interjecting with the voice of the audience, just as he does every day. Oh, hey. So, the Tank asks, what is your personal stream, Jeffrey? I would tune in if I knew. So I usually, when you watch the let's see here. Okay, you're on Twitch. Say when I publish the VODs, I put this whole boilerplate thing on there which has links. So I think if you look at any of our old VODs from past streams, you can see links to my personal channel whenever you're like, hey, if you want to bother Jeffrey, there's a whole section in the description that says if you want to bother Jeffrey, here's where you bother Jeffrey. You can get my Twitter account and my Twitch account and all those places. So feel free to. I mean, I don't usually hype my stream too much on the air, but since we're in the pre-stream and since you asked, yeah, it's called Derangatang, which is a nonsensical name, and I would definitely have chosen a different one if I had thought at all about wanting it to be comprehensible. Like I can say it out loud and you can immediately know what to type. Unfortunately, when I made my Twitch account, I didn't think I was going to be a streamer, and so I just made something unpronounceable.
Yep, been there.
Yeah,
Lots of old usernames that I really regret.
Yeah,
20-year-old me made. I'm like, oh no.
I'm trying to.
If I had known.
We had another programmer who had just a really embarrassing username. Like anytime we were sharing gamer tags and stuff like that, Peter G would share his, and we're all just like, huh? He's like,
yes.
I was a teenager.
I think my Xbox Live name was my normal name it was already in use.
Yeah.
So I'm like, really? And so I was like changing one letter at a time just to try to get it to, and it randomly accepted on something that I really didn't expect it to. And I'm like, I regret this entirely.
Yeah. So my Xbox Live gamer tag is Rangatang, which I can say that and somebody can figure out how to spell it. But unfortunately, I was a late adopter of Twitch and YouTube, and so somebody else already had Rangatang on both of those things. So I just added a DE to the beginning because I thought having it overlap with the word deranged might be funny, but it's also incomprehensible. So yeah, I would definitely I would make different choices if I could go back.
Yeah, my gamer tag originally was just something. It was something we used to shout out in one of my super old offices, and so I grabbed that as a gamer tag on the original Xbox Live. And it was years later that somebody pointed me to a link in Urban Dictionary, and I immediately canceled that account. Yeah. Now my gamer tag is just my name. Can't be.
Wow. So we got a few people making suggestions for features they'd like to see that we haven't announced. I think one person was asking if we'll ever get the Plague Freaks from Heartland in the base game, and that's certainly something that we've heard that people are interested in. So we'll have to see what we can pull off. Yeah, we're one thing. We do maintain a wish list over at support.stateofdecay.com. If you go there, you can see. You can look at other things that people have suggested. You can sort it, especially sort it by upvotes or popularity, or what I forgot what it's labeled as. But basically, you can submit your own ideas, or you can upvote other people's ideas, and you can see which things are rising to the top. And we refer to that fairly frequently. It's not the only way that we make our decisions, because we've got plans of our own and ideas of things that we want to create for you folks. But we use it as a really important reference point for us to get a sense of what the audience is really looking for, so we can, sort of fold that into our decision-making process.
Hey, thanks for the raid, Grumpy Old Man from Twitch.
Oh, nice.
Brought over some victims for us.
We got some folks in here like Dennis Okiba saying that they can't wait for the new guns. So last week we introduced lever action rifles, which is going to be showing up in this update 21. We've wanted lever action rifles in this game for so long. There's just for me, like, I'm not like normally a massive gun enthusiast in my like normal everyday life, but even I can see the appeal of this sort of like of this classic sort of cowboy, ratcheting your way through this through the magazine sort of feeling. There's something really nice about it, so I can appreciate it too.
Yeah, we've had those guns. We had those guns done for like a year,
but they're missing animations and they're missing a whole bunch of other stuff. We couldn't just release them.
Mark made most of them just because he had a little bit of time, and he's like, I'm going to make some guns that I want to see in the game. And so the argument against them when it came time to figure out the pack was, oh no, the guns are made, so you guys just have to figure out the anims and then we're good to go.
So D-Man51 has another suggestion. Could there be a feature that allows players to create a small facility at outposts for the price of a lot of influence? That's an interesting idea. We've had people suggest that they would love to be able to do more with outposts than they currently can. So we'll have to take that under advisement and see what we're capable of pulling off along those lines. We no promises about specific stuff, but we can definitely see sort of the untapped potential of outposts, and would love to do something more with them in the future. So I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. So yeah, Chris Goes to Paris says, I'd love to be able to change the hairstyle and hair color on survivors, go punk with them. I would love that too. Like, my favorite character that I've got in my home community is I randomly got the Red Talon soldier that has the blue hair under the balaclava, and she's like one of my favorite. I dressed her in the blue Red Talon bomber jacket to match, and she's one of my favorite characters that I've got. So she's the only one with a punk hairdo in the game. The only one with the fancy stuff. Somebody suggested, I didn't see where it went, somebody suggested that I should stick my mohawk up during the stream at some point. Here's the problem with that. In order to hear the other people and the game, I have to have my headphones on. And the headphones kind of interfere with the mohawk. What I should do, I should probably get some earbuds that I can put on that sort of like dangle down like this so that I can just, tease this whole monster up. Oh, the other problem is my camera doesn't go up any higher than this, so there's limits. It limits how crazy we can go. But yeah, we could, we could do something like that. There you go. Teased up mohawk for you. But yeah, I've just got nowhere to put my headphones now. See, as soon as I start putting the headphones anywhere useful, it just if I want to keep them on, it just flattens the mohawk again. So it's not going to work.
I teased my mohawk up.
Yeah, I know, Brant. Your hair is just all over the place right now.
No.
Husky Gamer asks, could we get a State of Decay remaster? You did! It's called the Year One Survival Edition.
That's right.
The original State of Decay was for the Xbox 360. The Xbox One version was a remaster that we did in 2015. Oh, it's been ages now.
Yeah, that was the first one I played for the PC.
Yeah.
I think they already revamped a lot. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't in the original, like I think vehicle inventory and stuff like that.
Yeah, we added that with Lifeline.
Originally in the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that came in with that.
That was one of our first examples of us sort of like supporting the game with new expanding features for free after release, because you had to buy Lifeline to play the Lifeline content when it was new, before it got just folded into the Year One Survival Edition. But everyone who already owned the game, regardless of whether they bought Lifeline, got the Rucks in Trucks feature for free. And that was kind of like, people loved that so much, and we were so proud of having done that it kind of contributed to our company culture afterwards, of like us, always wanting to support our games, after release for free with expanding features and improvements and stuff like that. So that led us to where we are today. Hello, Dread Adventure. He gave me a shout out, so I'm giving him one back.
Greed 15 from YouTube. The likelihood of us getting motorcycles is just about zero.
Yeah, there's a lot to motorcycles. Eric, you've worked with
technically
the vehicle code.
Just it's in games. Motorcycles and like horses and stuff like that are always the hard things technically. Just because there's so many edge cases and so many problems you have to deal with that, it's a big investment. Like,
obviously it's not impossible. Other games have done motorcycles and horses and things like that, but they spent a lot of time and effort doing it. And so the trade-off is it's not like, we theoretically couldn't do it. We would just have to do it instead of a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Like, the time that it would take us to make that experience good, we could have made 5 or 6 other features that were at least as good. So
that's always the trade-off.
We can say this: we won't even think about it until we perfect vehicle physics in State of Decay.
There you go.
So that should give you an idea of how long it would be before we'd ever consider putting in motorcycles.
The take suggests, there's always State of Decay 3, and it's true that it's nice to know that we've got a sequel in the works, because it means that some of the ideas where it's like, oh man, that would be good, but there's just no way to fit it into the schedule and the resources that we had devoted to State of Decay 2 with all the other ambitions that we have. but we know the franchise is continuing. Whether a particular feature makes it into State of Decay 3, or there's some future game down the line where it belongs, whatever. It's like we know this franchise is continuing, and so there's lots of room for your favorite features to eventually make it into a State of Decay experience, even if we're not going to be able to do it right now with the game we're working on this second.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, especially with an existing game, that it's a lot harder to put in because you have an existing engine, you have existing tech that you have to like fit it into. That you don't have many constraints with the new game. So, yeah, a lot of that stuff for 2 is just it's a lot harder to actually pull off than it would be in the new game.
Huh. Let's see here. Southtown Chi says, "Do not fix random exploding vehicles, please." So I love that sometimes, no matter what a bug is, there's somebody where it's their favorite bug and they want it to stay. That always makes it. Except for that one audio bug we had soon after release. That one was pretty bad. Nobody liked that one.
The deafening one.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I had that one at home a lot, and yeah, that was kind of rough. So, Smooth 776. We are constantly trying to come up with ways to improve the multiplayer experience. There's definitely been, like we used to be having like these, frequent dropouts called Error 3 and stuff like that we have smoothed over a lot. We're continuously working on trying to make the multiplayer experience smoother and better. As far as larger scale changes, to sort of, to revamp it, there's ideas that we have about ways we can make multiplayer better overall. But a lot of those might take a little bit of time because getting multiplayer right is a big challenge, as you've seen, and so we want to make sure that anything new that we do or any big massive improvements that we do them right. And so we're aware that there's a lot of people who would love to see more from our multiplayer experience, and so we're taking that very seriously. We'll just have to be patient until we find the right solutions and are able to.
Okay, we need to put the brakes on something. Steve-O on YouTube posted a comment that said Brant eats cat food, and I want to know what.
So Steve-O. Oh, what were you gonna say, Eric?
Is it like the good, nice, like pate style? That's like
spread on a cracker,
like chicken and turkey, and it's got a nice gravy to it.
I want to know.
I can understand
where that even came from.
So Steve-O actually follows my personal stream, and he actually has made it his. It's his job. Whenever I post a video, he goes and he writes a non sequitur comment in the video saying something completely random. So he might just be just true to form, continuing his particular habit there.
I mean, put it in a taco form, and there's a really good chance I'll try it. But
yes, honestly, as far as you might have already have, Brett. So,
I mean, tuna tacos. It's not that far off. You're
really,
almost there.
Meow mix tacos. Okay, I see where this is going. All right. I mean, I'm not entirely against it as long as it's well seasoned.
Mr. Carlos wants to see Gurubani Carr back in the game because Gurubani was a sort of a prize character that you got for buying the Year One Survival Edition after having bought the original game, and so there's a lot of old school fans who are a big fan of her. She was a pretty powerful character and had a really cool hoodie. We did bring her swords into the game. I think was it in the Trumbull Valley pack that her two antique Indian swords made it into the game. So we've got a nod to Gurubani. If you sort of wait for the Trumbull Valley pack to roll around, which shouldn't take that long, there's some stuff you can get. I'm trying to remember what her gun was. It was like a vintage World War II gun, wasn't it?
Yep, it was a suppressed Delisle, which was a sentry gun that was widely used in Burma.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also super, super expensive on the collector's market because almost none of them survived.
Oh, wow. So we should keep that one in mind for maybe a future bounty pack. Okay, it is 3:00, so we should get started. Let me see. I'll bring up my notes here, making sure I know what I'm doing. I am no longer looking at the chat, so so basically, as you ask questions, the moderators will funnel them to us via our Slack channel, and so Brand will be reading that, and hopefully we'll be able to go through the patch notes with you and also answer your questions. So if everybody's ready, here we go. Hello, survivors. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Jeffrey Card, and today we're going through the patch notes for Update 21. So, a couple of weeks ago, we introduced difficulty sliders, and then the week after that, we introduced the Open Range Pack, which is full of lever action rifles and other, like Wild West themed weapons. And now we're going to get to all the rest of the details, including one feature that some pretty clever audience members figured out before we got the chance to talk about it. So first, let me introduce my guest, Eric Anderson. Eric?
Hey, how's it going? I'm happy to be here. It's been a while, but I always have a lot of fun coming on these streams, so I'm looking forward to this.
So the reason Eric is here is because he's the lead of our gameplay strike team, and so he was actually, personally involved with a lot of with some of the more exciting features we've got here, especially the first one we're going to get to. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. We've also got Brant here watching the chat. Brant?
Hello.
It's Brant.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate it.
So, before we get to all of that, though, I've got something else that we want to share. There is a contest that's being started right now. It's being run by our overlords in sort of the Xbox department, and we've got a video to share. So let's watch this video real quick, and then we'll talk about this contest. Okay, so what was all that? Let me explain. So if you go to xbox.com/HOF, the link that you saw at the end of the video, you'll see the opportunity to sign up for this event. So you sign up there, and basically this is a contest to check out your fastest Plague Heart speedrun. So anybody who has an Xbox can participate in this. It is Xbox only. You can't do it on PC, partly just because, it's an Xbox event. We're celebrating the arrival of the Series X, and partly because some of you have mods, and that wouldn't be fair. It's also single player only. You can't get help from friends. You got to do it by yourself. And basically what you do is, starting October 16th, you start a fresh standard zone map that could either be a brand new community or just moving your existing community to a fresh standard zone map. You get that started, you see, check out the plague hearts that are scattered around the map, and just clear them all out as fast as you possibly can. We're going to you can do it multiple times if you want to during the time window, and basically your best time is going to be entered in, and then, some winners are going to be picked based on who pulled it off. And the prize is an Xbox Series X, which is, whenever that comes out in November. So anyway, wanted you all to know about that because I think a lot of our best speedrunners are people who watch this channel, and we want to make sure that you know about this because it's a great opportunity to show your State of Decay 2 skills. So now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into some patch notes and the game. So real quick, just to skim past the stuff we've already done, we've already talked about the difficulty sliders. That's over here, which allow you to control, your difficulty on a bunch of different metrics. You've got your action difficulty, which determines how many zombies there are and how hard it is to fight them. Community difficulty, which is things like, resource use and morale, how much you have to think about the people at home. And then map difficulty, which is, how scarce things are on the map, how many plague hearts there are, all the stuff that needs to be decided as a new map arrives is on the map difficulty slider. And one of the best parts is, the map difficulty slider, you still have to basically start a new map when you change it, but the other two, you can change them whenever you want, and you don't have to reset your map. And so it's a nice, big, exciting change, and there's a little question mark in the end. There's a fifth notch that doesn't have a difficulty level yet. And so we're teasing a future feature there that hopefully, before too long, we'll be able to give you guys the ability to go off the end, turn these things to 11, or to 5, I guess. And then we also went over the Open Range Pack. which is a set of, you can see here, Western-themed outfits, Western-themed weapons. You can see each of the characters that we've got is carrying one of these weapons. So as I'm moving around from character to character, you'll see things like the Duval Outrider, which is a lever-action 5.56 rifle. We've got a bunch of revolvers. All of the weapons in the open range pack don't degrade with use. And so if you're looking for some weapons you can just carry with you for a long haul and not have to repair them at all, Open Range Pack is for you. So with the review out of the way, there's one... we should start on the rest of the features. And there's one feature that people got a little bit of an accidental preview of. And maybe, Eric, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can just hit up straight from the patch notes what we got coming. So the... right? We're talking about this big one, right?
Yes, we are talking about the big one.
Okay, yeah. We are... The new addition is you can now manage the inventories of your community members without taking control of them. So basically, you just walk up and talk to them, and you will see a new dialogue option to access survivor inventory. And this will open their inventory while also having your inventory available via a tab in the character menu. And then selecting an item either through the A button or the left click if you're on the mouse will send the item from the inventory you're looking at to the other character's inventory. So you can freely swap items back and forth without having to change characters. We are so pumped for this. It's been a long time coming. And then also while looking at the other survivors' inventory, you can also use and equip items through their inventory, just like you could for your character. So this basically means you can activate a healing consumable item within another survivor's inventory in the field without needing to switch to them.
Oh, he's not too happy that I'm going through his inventory. And actually, you know what? I made the mistake of healing all of these characters before we started the stream, so I can't actually demonstrate that part of it. I need to go get myself injured. So
I'm gonna have to get him hurt.
I'm gonna go get somebody hurt so you can see that live. Oh, unfortunately, I'm in a standard zone right now, so the zombies are not gonna be thick on the ground. But let me go make the zombies thick on the ground. Let's switch our action level to Nightmare. It's gonna take a little bit of a load screen, but so. One of the reasons we did this was partly... this actually answered multiple wish list requests. Because there were people who were just like, can I manage my survivors' equipment? That's one thing that people asked for. They also asked for, could I heal my survivors in the field? Which this provides. They asked, can I... just use my survivors as a pack mule for more than just rucksacks. And yes, we absolutely can.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason we went for the solution we did, is to basically hit all these things all at the same time. So that you could swap items, you could equip items, you could use the consumables. We want to give as much functionality that you have from your normal inventory as possible when doing this. The other thing to note is this essentially replaces the transfer ruck to a survivor dialogue option when you're talking to someone. Now it accesses the inventory, and then you can just, through the inventory, just send rucksacks back and forth, just like you would any other item.
So it looks like there's definitely a group of zombies over here who want to hurt me, so that's good. Very convenient. Ow! Okay, there's a lot of them. Okay, hold on. I'm also a terrible shot. Oh, part of the problem is I'm looking at the wrong screen. All right. So anyway, I got a little bit injured. So if I run over here and switch with a different character. So Monkey Man asks, is this just for followers or is this basically for anybody in your community?
This is for anyone in your community. So I mean, obviously other enclaves, you can't manage their inventory. But any NPC that is a member of your community, you can go up, talk to them. You'll have the option to access the inventory, and then you can swap items with them. Which is super helpful. I know for me, like, I'll change characters, and then I'm like, oh, actually, I want to get something off that person I just switched from. So then I just go talk to them and then swap items around, and it's super easy.
Where did Hannah run off to? I think she's probably out to fight a zombie. Oh,
yeah, she's gonna defend the castle, man.
I guess so. Yeah, she's my follower, so I expected her to come with me, but I guess that's not going to be what happens. I've got my old pirate blunderbuss here, so... Oh, holy crap. So this is what happens when I attract a bunch of zombies.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I was just going to illustrate one minor point, but now we have to kill a bunch of juggernauts.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
But we're gonna get. Oh, is he? Okay, no, he's not actually going all the way down yet. No, get off me. Okay, we can do this. We can do this.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about your characters not being injured.
Yes,
after
exactly.
This.
If anything, the question is, are they going to be alive? By the end of this?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no resurrection consumable you can use on them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there are so
No
many.
Phoenix Downs.
Oh. Okay.
Oh boy.
My character is screwed right now, and it's like
boy.
he's down. No. Okay, everybody. Oh, good. They're taking him out. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
it's your chance. Oh, nice.
So yeah, so Brant and Eric watch this on a delay. So whenever something good happens to me, they're going to comment on it about 5 seconds later. There are so many zombies. What the heck?
I mean, you did switch it to Nightmare, and you're using a shotgun, so
That's true. I'm going to run over here, see if I can take him from another side, and reload for a second. Oh man, okay, was that a screamer? Ugh. Okay. I think my guys have got this handled. I think we're good. Oh, is there just one more? Oh, anyway, hey, Hannah. Oh, anyway. So, Hannah's a little bit... Hey, stay with me. Hannah's a little bit injured. Oh, there's... Yeah, I guess she's going to prioritize combat. That makes sense.
There's still... Yeah, you still have the siege going on.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even realize it was a proper siege. I just attracted a bunch of zombies. I didn't even notice that a real siege had started.
Hannah probably doesn't appreciate you being so needy for attention.
Yeah, seriously, I'm really not doing myself any favors here. Okay, we got all the zombies. We're good. All right, so Hannah, come here. Come here, Hannah.
Guys, there's lots of questions about State of Decay 3. We're not going to be talking about that today, just so you know.
All right, so we've got... So Forsyth here. He's really, really hurt. So I'm going to access his inventory. I've got his bottle of painkillers, so I'm just going to use that. Let's see here. Oh, wait, does he... Oh, interesting. It didn't work.
Is he actually injured or just infected?
Oh, it could be that he's mostly infected. Well, anyway, we don't need to worry about that right now. The point is, you can do a bunch of stuff with people's inventories. And so you can make them drop things. If you've got attachments for weapons, you can attach them. You can unequip their weapons if you want to, so you can take them yourself. You can even if you've got somebody who's got like a weapon that you need to unload the bullets from, you can do that. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. So yeah, it looks like oh, I know why I couldn't heal, because my maximum hit points are so low. They took out all the extra space. So okay, so I'm gonna talk to her.
So many
but
injuries.
I think she had a minor injury, right? There we go. Okay, yeah, we got her to use it. Okay, I got a little worried. It's like, oh no, did the feature break? But it didn't. He didn't have any space above his health to heal up. But she did.
Yeah, if you have too many injuries, it'll definitely reduce it down to the point where it's no actual missing health, just max health is reduced.
Okay, well, I'm definitely done with being that guy. So I'm gonna run around as Deadeye, because Deadeye's a pretty cool dude. All right, so I think I'm gonna go out. Wait, who am I bringing with me right now? Is it Hannah? Okay, yeah. So Hannah and I are gonna go out scavenging while we move on and talk about other things on the patch notes. I think the next one on the list is actually one that we're illustrating right now with these characters.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I didn't look at the inventory, but I believe the one you're talking about is you now have the option to hide all backpacks on your survivors.
Exactly.
Yes, this lets you see things like the patterns on the back of their jackets and avoid scenarios where your characters with a decent-sized backpack looks like they're about to climb Mount Everest, which exactly. is... I know for me, I always have the biggest backpack possible, and so it's just this giant monstrosity is always attached to their back. Especially with all the cool artwork we have on all the clothing, like it's nice to be able to see that. So now you have the option to turn that off visually, and you can find that option in the settings screen on the gameplay section as hide character backpacks.
Yeah, so you can see, I gave these characters fairly small backpacks. They're kind of low profile, but there's so many features of these outfits that really nobody ever gets to see, because you're always wearing a backpack. So yeah, if you go to gameplay, hide character backpacks, you can actually see these reflective strips on the back of the tactical suit, for instance, which looks really nice. And there's a lot of like our jackets and things like that have patterns on the back that you can actually sort of see now while you're running around with theoretically with a backpack on.
Eric, I
Yeah.
got a couple questions for you from
Yeah.
chat. Just to reiterate, this is only with you can only trade between your follower and you, right? This is
No,
like
it's
a
not just
multiplayer
your.
thing.
It's not other players. No, not at this time. Right now, it's just your community members, your NPC community members.
And then, do you have to interact with them in that way, like walking up to them, or can you manage their inventory from, say, the community screen?
Right now, it's just through talking to them, just like the rucksack transfer used to work. Essentially, it's the same kind of mechanism. You go talk to them, the dialogue options pop up, and you go through there. At least that's how it works currently.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, you have to be engaged in dialogue with one of your community members.
Yeah, but it can be any of your community members. It isn't just the follower you've brought with you. If you go home, you can interact with anyone in your community. I feel like I just heard a screamer or something. Oh, that's what I need. Oh, nah! Oh, great.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. Come here, Feral. Oh, somebody else shot him before I blew him up.
So Hellhound from YouTube got around the letter of the law and is not asking about State of Decay 3, asking about State of Decay 4.
and asking me because they think maybe I'll cave. I might. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna skip 3 and go straight to 4.
So if you missed our open range, if you missed our stream about the open range pack, you might have missed that we've got bundles of dynamite in the game now. So that's how you can put an end to a big zombie fight pretty quick. Unfortunately, you're probably putting a start to another zombie fight as other zombies come over to see what the sound was.
Especially depending on what difficulty you're on.
Here's a couple good questions about the backpacks. Do the pistols show up when you hide backpacks since they're attached to the hip?
Yes, they do.
I think things that are attached to your character do, but things that are attached to the backpack obviously don't.
Yeah.
But they're not floating in midair. Yeah.
And then here's another question. How do hidden backpacks work with multiplayer? Like, can one friend have backpacks hidden and one not and still be in the same game?
Yeah, I think it's just a local kind of effect. It's just your local visuals for how you want to look at the game, essentially. So it doesn't affect other players or anything like that.
Okay, so if you're playing with a friend and you've got backpacks hidden and they don't, they will see all the backpacks and you will hide all the backpacks?
Yeah. It's just a local kind of aesthetic choice, essentially.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think, especially a lot of the folks in our community who are into trying to take really pretty screenshots and stuff like that might really appreciate that one because it gives them more control over the aesthetics of their characters without costing them on the gameplay side.
Well,
I mean that's a super common thing nowadays in games. You'll see like in games with like helmets or anything like that. There's always the option now to turn off helmets because everyone wants to see the cool characters that they have underneath their helmets, and
especially this particular guy.
I was going to say, one of the questions I asked came from Oddly Lemony, who, of course, is well known for taking fantastic screenshots of our game.
Yeah. She is a one-person photo mode, just all on her own. Okay, so we've got so those are the two that have to do with sort of your inventory and what you're carrying around. We got another section that's about difficulty tuning because we're working on difficulty sliders, because that's sort of the big thing. We've actually had to make a lot of changes to the way that difficulty works and sort of the way the difficulty ramps are put together in order to make sliders work. And so we've got a whole section of the patch notes that are about that.
Oh, yes, indeed. The next thing we have on the list is that hostile humans have received a balance pass to offer a fair experience on higher difficulties. Particular, they can no longer kill a player who isn't in fight for life, even if they score a headshot. So essentially, using consumables to stay in the fight will mean that you're going to survive at least one more hit, which is super, super great. And it's always feels bad to out of nowhere just be killed instantly without really having any idea what's coming or what happened.
Yeah. There's sort
Yeah.
of when we're thinking about sort of like hostile humans, it's one of those weird areas where on one hand we know we've got a lot of people in our community who are asking us to make the game harder and not to make the game easier, which is one of the reasons why we've got these question marks at the end of the difficulty sliders is for those audience
Right.
members. But there's difficulty that's hard and there's difficulty that's just frustrating.
Punishing, yeah. You want it to be difficult, but you want it to be fair. That's the main thing, and it has to always feel fair.
Yeah.
And so yeah, certain things like that, especially because of the way your damage works against them, you want it to not be so lopsided that it just doesn't feel like
Like you're from different universes or something.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the other things to go along with this is the damage dealt to a hostile human by headshot it's now more consistent. There's now a minimum headshot damage received by hostiles at Dread and Nightmare. So even if you're using a suppressed 22, the number of headshots needed to take them down should be more reasonable.
Yeah, that was something that I encountered in my own personal game at home. Was I was bringing my stealthy character to engage with a bunch of hostile humans, and unfortunately that means that they had a suppressed 22, and I was just pumping them full of lead and nothing was happening.
Yeah, I mean, and they're still going to take a lot of body shots on the higher difficulties, but that hasn't changed. But in terms of the headshots, the things that feel like you really should be doing a lot of damage, it's a little more consistent now. Yeah.
Jeffrey, there's a request that you show off some more gameplay with the sawed-off shotgun.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, let me remember which character had that. I think so. It wasn't Flicka. It might have been Molly. Let's see if it's Molly. Yes, sawed off 1887.
Loxy Rack Wheat. A lot of people have been asking this. We don't have an exact date for this update.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be soon. I mean, we're doing the patch notes stream. That means we're confident enough that we're ready to go. But we don't have a final date locked in, and so we don't want to make you guys any promises we'd have to back out on. So.
Yeah. So one of the other changes we also made to hostile NPCs is that they now have an exceptionally high chance to miss their first 1-4 shots before they essentially get on target, with that chance disappearing faster on higher difficulties.
So you get at least a warning shot, and you can start dodging.
Yeah,
before
actually, this is also something that's kind of common. A lot of games do this kind of thing where they have the NPCs always miss the first shot. That's a very common game design tactic to kind of give the players a chance to know, hey, something's you're getting shot at. It's your chance to react before they actually target in on you and start getting actual hits. And the NPCs now also have massively reduced accuracy at long ranges. They were previously ridiculously accurate at long ranges.
They just snipe at you with anything, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to bring them more in line to basically how the player plays and less godlike and kind of cheaty. So, yeah, hopefully it should be a lot fairer, a lot more consistent experience while still being really hard. They're still super dangerous, so don't take them lightly.
I've figured out the best way to deal with them. I bring several of our really experienced and expert players into my game when I'm dealing with those, and I just sit back and drive them to go murder, and then they come back and everything's fine.
So I'm emptying out the inventories of these characters a little bit so that we've got some room to go scavenging together, and I can use Hannah here as a pack mule. So okay, so what do we got next? What other difficulty stuff?
All right. One of the other changes we made is the amount of influence you earn from killing zombies now declines as you move the community slider into the Dread and Nightmare settings. It used to escalate as difficulty rose, but that led to massive over earnings because there's so many more freaks in Dread and Nightmare. So it actually, instead of the game actually getting harder, in some respects, it actually got easier because there was so many freaks and they got so much influence. You just had this overabundance of influence, and it kind of throws off the whole game economy.
Yeah, and back when there was only one difficulty slider, it kind of made sense to say, oh yeah, as the combat gets harder, the prizes for combat gets higher, and that they were sort of marching in lockstep, and that made sense. But now that we've split the prizes onto the community slider and the action onto this slider, it would be really weird if, as you made community harder and harder and harder, your influence would go up and up and up. That just doesn't make any sense when it's not
Yeah.
necessarily bound to the action. And so now that they're separate, it goes. So as I increase it up to Nightmare, the amount of influence you earn per kill goes down now instead of going up. So you really have to, ration that influence and make sure you're buying the right stuff with it.
Yeah, but just by the nature of how many freaks there are in those modes, you're going to be getting more of those little rewards anyways.
Yeah.
So it'll end up being a little more reasonable, but you're still be getting a lot because there's just so many freaks to kill. So you're not going to be hurting for influence if you really want it. You'll have freaks to go kill that'll get you that still. And one of the other, I'm going to move on. The next thing is now we now have a smooth ramp of Plague Heart population across the different notches on the map slider, starting low at the green end and then steadily increasing as you progress to Nightmare. Because there actually used to be a little dip in Plague Heart population when you hit Dread mode. For some reason, I think it was early on, it was like the first new difficulty we were looking at, and because we wanted to not be too crazy. But
oh crap!
Now that
Speaking
we
of too
have
crazy,
Nightmare and everything else, like it's just a nice smooth ramp up.
Okay, I'm completely out of shells. I need to get. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on.
Oh, this could be good.
This is. No, I'm getting dogpiled. Oh, this is terrible. No.
This doesn't look good.
This does not look good.
That's what happens when you play with puppers, play with the wild dogs.
Where's your follower?
Oh, she's
Probably
busy
dead.
with her own people.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. She's got her own trouble.
Oh, I keep
man.
forgetting that I'm dead. I'm screwed. There's nothing I can
you're-
do. I'm just not going to get an opportunity to reload, and that's what it's going to take these guys out.
Just, yeah, obstacles.
That's
Okay.
right.
Put obstacles between you and them.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm reloaded.
Yeah, sacrifice your soul.
Oh crap!
You might want to use
I was going to dodge right at the last second.
Uh-oh.
This is painful to
This
watch.
is, oh yeah, I know, it's real bad. Oh!
I'm enjoying it.
Two in one blow. Okay, now watch me die to a regular zombie. It's gonna be great.
Speaking of managing inventories, take some meds. Okay.
Yeah,
there you
I did finally. Yes. I actually
I'm
one of those dynamites that I threw was my attempt to take meds, not realizing that I was on the wrong item. Okay, let's head back home. Hannah, come with me. Let's go back home.
Oh my god, you're both alive. Wow.
Okay, so anyway, we were talking about Plague Heart populations, and
Yeah.
I'm in the Dread Zone. Check me out. Look how many Plague Hearts there are.
That's
the new
considerably
Dread
more
Zone
than
for
there
ya.
used to be. Yeah.
So it used to be that the Dread Zone had what, like
It was
7 Plague Hearts?
frightfully
something
low.
like that?
6 to 7, I think, around there.
Yeah, it was lower than Standard. Standard had something like 10, and Dread had 7, and then Nightmare shot up into the high teens. Now
Nightmare's still
Dread
ridiculous.
is like halfway between Standard and Nightmare.
Yeah. And speaking of like smooth ramps between difficulties, the next thing on the list is that the baseline morale penalty for all survivors now gets worse as you shift your community slider from Dread to Nightmare, increasing from -10 to -15. Because it used to be just -10 for both of them. So now,
But now
Morale
that we've
does
got the
take an
slider,
extra
it feels
hit.
like we should do something with Nightmare, right? So.
yeah.
Well-
I mean,
Will there be new achievements?
So we don't have any new achievements coming with difficulty sliders because if anything, so the main thing that changed about achievements with difficulty sliders is the fact that now there's sort of new complicated rules. Not complicated, but you have to realize that if a particular achievement says you have to be at a Dread Zone or higher, that means that all of your sliders have to be at Dread or higher. And when you're looking at the difficulty screen, let me quickly hide Brant so you can see this. It says boon and achievement difficulty currently is set to Standard because my lowest slider is at Standard. If I raised it to Dread and changed it, then and then we sort of kicked in these the new changes, it would be set to Dread, and then it would be set up to Nightmare if I put everything up to Nightmare. And so basically, so we didn't add any new achievements because the existing achievements we had still worked. What we needed to do was make sure that each of those achievements was clear. It was clearly visible how it worked in under the new system. And so that's what's changed about achievements. You can still get the same ones, and so that means that people who, for instance, got True Grit, which is a particularly difficult one, you have to survive 100 days in a dread zone or harder. We didn't want those players to feel like their achievement was cheapened at all by us changing the rules and making it so that, for instance, somebody could get it just by changing one of their difficulty sliders up to Dread. We wanted to make sure that the challenge was still the same across the board. So that's why we chose the rules that we did. So that if you want to get True Grit now with difficulty sliders, it's just as hard as it's always been to get True Grit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. The next thing on our list is that Blood Plague Juggernauts will now continue to spawn even after all Plague Hearts are defeated when the action slider is set to Nightmare. So once you kill all the Plague Hearts, it's no longer going to be a drought of Blood Plague Juggernauts. The game's still going to be threatening, indeed. So, yeah. And for some reason, it was already true in Dread.
Yeah, for
and
some
not
reason, we're only
Nightmare.
turning them off in Nightmare. It doesn't make any sense.
There's always some of those discoveries like, wait, why are we doing this and not why are we not carrying this through to the harder difficulty?
Yeah. And it probably was just
happen.
that. Yeah, because we didn't even originally we were going to ship with just Dread and not with Nightmare, and so Nightmare was added towards the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if something to do with that. Just we didn't necessarily dot every I and cross every T with Nightmare before we shipped it. So I don't know if that's true. It could have been anything, but yeah, it's easy for that kind of stuff to slip in. But now it makes sense.
Yeah. We also have Plague Heart loot is now consistent across all difficulty settings, granting 3 to 6 plague samples and what were formerly considered nightmare level items.
So yeah. So if we have any time at the end of this session, I'll probably go and switch into Green Zone and go kill a Plague Heart and show you that you actually get just as good loot from a Plague Heart in Green Zone as you used to always get in Nightmare.
Yeah. Which is great because they're essentially kind of like little mini bosses. You want to feel rewarded when you kill those guys.
Yeah, exactly. And and if you're deciding to play at Green Zone, it means that Green Zone is a challenge for you, and so you kind of deserve to be rewarded for the challenge you've decided to take on. And honestly, and it was one of those other cases too where it's weird for Nightmare to be giving you more stuff when trying to survive with less is part of the point of the game. Part of the point of the difficulty.
Yeah, and like I know personally, like the way I like to play with the difficulty sliders, I like the action to be hard, but then to have the map difficulty a little bit lower, so I can still get good items. Yeah. So to have that not be true for Plague Hearts just seems inconsistent. So I'm glad we got that sorted out. That's great.
Wow, DJ Zero Sum wants armored ferals. Why?
So blood ferals from Heartland are effectively armored ferals. They take multiple
essentially are. Their heads are essentially armored already.
All right, so that is the difficulty section. Do we want to get into gameplay tuning?
We probably should. So one of the first items in there is Ambient Enclaves should now offer a wider variety of items for trade and offer more useful gear, such as suppressors, mid-tier weapons and firearms, gas cans, repair kits, facility mods, and some quirky consumable items like box mines. This is generally applied to randomly generated enclaves, like not the arc-based ones, but
so the soldiers didn't get an upgrade. The soldiers kind of already had their own custom set of stuff that they offered. But say if you used your radio command to call in, to invite a new enclave to join your map, those folks would get the upgraded stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, try to track these zombies to the thing. There we go. Oh, it knocked me down too, but that's fine. Worth it.
Oh boy. All that dynamite.
Now I just got to do some cleanup with my giant skillet. Gonna fry me up some zombies. Oh, there's some more. Okay, let's read another one while I
that's great. I don't think I've ever seen that heavy weapon before. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, it's a new one with the open range pack.
Oh, that's so good. The next thing I'd list is the chance to knock down a zombie on the first shot when firing a weapon chambered in a 44 Magnum is now 60%, up from 30%.
Oh, yeah.
So
what am I using right now? Okay,
beefy
this is a
knockdown.
44. This is a 44, and so yeah, you can see that.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah, so when I shoot these zombies in the chest,
Oh, shit.
they're
there
really
you
likely
go.
to get
There you
knocked
go.
down. Even the
got
armored
it.
guys. You saw me take down an armored guy a little bit earlier
Oh.
too.
Nice.
Gross.
Yeah, so that's another reason to that's another reason to bring to bring a 44 with you. Those Magnum guns that we've been for a long time. They've sort of been like sort of the redheaded stepchild guns of the game. But we're really trying to make sure that with that sort of the power of these guns and the value of these guns is comparable to their rarity, because the ammo is kind of hard to get. We want to make sure that these guns are doing enough damage and having enough interesting valuable effects to be worth it. Oops, I'm a terrible shot.
Yeah. Plus, it also just kind of matches what people I think expect from a Magnum.
Yeah,
that
it
kind
says
of
Magnum on it.
knockdown power. Yeah.
Speaking of
to do
Magnum, there's a couple juggernauts about to join the party over there.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Really? Where?
You're running right towards them.
Oh my gosh! Oh, they're running right towards me too. So convenient.
You found him.
Yeah. Okay, come here. Come get me, guys. Come get me. Oh no, don't. Why are you fighting my friend? I'm trying to get you with the dynamite.
Oh, that was juicy.
There we go. Totally worth it getting knocked down for that.
Oh man. There you go.
Okay, everybody, this way, this way. Just knocking everybody down. Oh,
much
this
dynamite
is
do
gonna
you
go badly. I mean, I barely made it out of that feral situation. I don't think this one is gonna go well.
I don't know. I thought the same thing about the last situation.
That's true. I mean, I was pretty convinced. Well, so my follower is just in charge of dying over there while I do my best. Oh! Here we go! Here we go! Take that!
Oh, your chance.
Oh no! Oh,
Nice.
my follower's in trouble though. So I'll just throw dynamite directly at her.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
boy.
Well, what more can happen? She's already down.
Yeah.
Her fight is over.
Is she even alive? I think I might
No.
have missed it.
Her fight's over.
Oh crap! Mine
Yeah.
might be as well.
Oh,
He just went right
And-
over that feral.
another pupper joined the fray.
Okay.
Your follower's gone.
Ah! No! Oh! This
no.
is it. This is it. There's no way I'm
Nope.
making it out of this
Nope.
one.
Nope.
Oh no! I made it.
Oh, wait.
I made it. How did I make it? Get off me!
Follower's trying to
Wait,
save you.
your follower's still alive.
Hannah. Hannah didn't give up. You can't.
Okay, Hannah, come. I hope Hannah's following me because I've completely forgotten where my car is. It's over here. Hannah, let's go. Let's go. Get in the car, Hannah. Get in the car. Get in the car, quick. Engage. Okay.
This is. I can't
Yes.
take it.
Go.
Woohoo! Thelma and Louise.
That
Oh my god.
was rough.
Oh, I call that a win.
Spirit Shaman,
Wow.
we are talking about the patch. It's all we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think we're getting.
And
distracted?
Hannah being a badass.
Well,
All right. Speaking of which, next thing on our list is we've adjusted the collision on vehicles with snow plows attached to the front to make them less likely to get caught on obstacles like guardrails.
Yeah.
Um,
We don't have one of those to show you, and also I don't want to try to get a snowplow caught on a guardrail. But yeah, that was a serious thing, especially once we sort of improved the handling of the vehicles, which made it easier to get them up onto obstacles. It actually made it easier to get snowplows up onto things that then they would get snagged on with the snowplow.
Right. Because it's got that complex geometry on the front. So
Yeah.
just tweak that a little bit so it should be less likely to happen now. Yes.
I'm gonna give Doof a rest here. Doof, you're done. Let's switch to Annabelle.
here's a quick question. You mentioned possibly an increase in the ability to recruit new survivors in the game. Is that something
Oh yeah,
that's going in?
that's down the list a little bit. We got under. I think is it under? User experience improvements. That is the next category. Why don't we just get into that?
Yeah, I think it's time. Ooh, this one I'm actually really pumped about. This
Oh,
is
yes.
one that's bothering me. So long duration actions on facilities, like upgrading a facility, no longer block you from performing quick actions like crafting. That's, I know for me, that's always been a huge thing because, like, yeah, the upgrades can take quite a while, but it's like, but I still want to use that facility for other things in the meantime. So now basically any instantaneous actions can still be performed while like longer term ongoing actions are happening. So that I'm really pumped about.
Yeah, so you can see that what I just did was I started installing a mod at the workshop, and normally that just occupies the workshop forever. But while that workshop was building that mod, I also made myself some fuel bombs. So now I've got fuel bombs that I can bring with me on my next sortie. And let me just switch up my guns here while I'm at the supply locker. But yeah, so I think that'll be so much more convenient. I just remember, like, there's so many times where I'm like, okay, first thing I want to do is break down these weapon parts in the workshop, and then I start that, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, the next thing I want to do is make some pipe
Now
bombs.
I have to wait. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, if two actions, I think if they're there are some cases where, like, if they're both in the same category, I think it's hard to do two actions at the same time. But still, but most cases, especially if you're doing something like upgrading a facility, there will be no interference. You can just keep using the facility like you always have.
Yeah. At least for any like instantaneous actions, you can't do any like. You can't have two actions that have like durations essentially going at the same time, but like any instantaneous actions can freely happen while other things are going on at the facility.
Right, like for instance, I'm still installing this mod at the workshop, but if I wanted to, say, create the ammo resource out of chemicals, I can't, because I think it takes 7 minutes and 32 seconds, and I can't do that. But this, making bolts is instantaneous, so I can do that immediately.
Yeah.
So cool. So that's that one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the one of the other improvements we did was for missions. Now, when you accept a mission via dialogue, through character dialogue, the game will automatically pin it as your current mission, which is always a little weird before, because you go up and you're like, yeah, I totally want to do this mission for you, and then you still had to manually go into the map menu and then pin the mission yourself.
Yeah. The place where it would happen the most is if you're like on a mission right now and you're out there, pursuing something, and then you run into some like random stranded survivor who's like, "Hey, can you get me to this place where I'll find my old hatchet or something, or my crowbar?"
Yeah.
And you would say, "Oh yes, I want to accept that mission," and it's like, "Okay, great, go to the place." But your old mission is still pinned, and so your old mission is still telling you where to go, and you have to go manually find the mission you just accepted, and select it. Now you don't. If you accept it in dialogue, it's accepted, and now that's your new objective. And if you want to switch back to the old mission, you can manually switch back to the old mission if you want to, or I think it automatically switches back. If you interrupt one mission with another and then complete the new interrupting mission, it automatically goes back to the old mission as soon as you're done.
Yeah, with all the auto pinning stuff, it kind of keeps track of the last thing you were doing whenever it does that auto pinning. So it should automatically go back once you finish up whatever little like ambient mission that may have popped up that you decided to do in the interim.
And so, major props to Leah, by the way, because that sounds like a simple UX change where we're like, oh yeah, every time you accept a mission in dialogue, it pins in the HUD. That's a really simple thing to do. No, she had to change it in every single mission. She had to open up every single mission and change what the mission does. So
it's a lot of content work. It's
a lot of work. And there's a lot of testing. There's a lot of testing that went into this. So
that happens for a lot of these things. That sounds really simple. When you get into it, the nuts and bolts of it, there's a lot of content that often needs to be changed for just small little tweaks. And then not to mention, all the QA that has to happen after, all the testing, making sure that nothing else broke with all that content. So, big props to her for that.
So this next one is one that I believe, so I don't remember who it was, but I became aware of this when it was brought up by somebody in the community. Random maps.
Yeah, essentially, when you move community to a random map, because you get the selection of which map you want to go to, and there's the random option, the game will no longer drop you into the same map you just left a quarter of the time, which was the thing that it did. Now you will always end up somewhere other than the map that you were just in, because before it was a true random, so it could just choose again the same map you were just in.
Which was ridiculous every time it happened. Literally no one wanted that.
Yes, if you're choosing to move map, it's because you want to change maps. Yes, now it will guarantee that you're going to be in a different map. It'll just be random of the other maps that you could go to.
Yeah.
You don't like that feeling of nostalgia or deja vu? Or
like I've been here before.
Yeah, it's a lot like Breakdown, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So then I think this next
Okay.
one was the one that person was asking about.
Oh yeah, earlier. So the most essential missions for recruiting new survivors, the ones that like create new enclaves and progress your relationships with an enclave, have now been moved to their own category under the hood to prevent them from being held up by other missions. And what this means is that missions that lead towards allies and recruits should be available more often.
And so the
Yeah.
the sort of the trade-off of that is that you probably will have more mission, like generally maybe up to one more mission in general showing up on your map screen at any given time. There's some players who actually want that, who want to have as many missions listed there as possible. There's other players who don't, and so it's a little bit of a trade-off. But like I had an experience when I was playing, my copy of the game at home, where I got into the Cannibals arc, and it's a pretty long arc. It's got lots and lots of missions.
Yeah.
in it. And while it was active, I wasn't getting any recruit missions, or any missions that would sort of allow me to progress my relationships with other enclaves. And so we went back and was like, okay, there's got to be a way
Yeah.
to do that, fix it. So
Yeah. To give you a little insight into how the sausage is made, under the hood, essentially, because we want to have a variety of missions at any given time, we kind of limit them to categories and say, like, there's only like one enclave mission going on at once. So you're not having like 3 different enclave missions. So you always have kind of a variety of missions to choose from. But because any kind of recruit mission involves dealing with other enclaves, it went into the same category as like enclave arcs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But because
which made
recruiting
perfect
is
sense
so
for the goals we had. At
Yeah.
the time, but
thematically it makes sense, but in terms of just how important it is to recruit and be able to make allies with enclaves, like being able to have those have a little more leniency, I think makes a lot of sense. And it'll kind of unblock you essentially from being able to grow your community a little bit more.
I feel like Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man right now. I don't know what's going on here.
It's the Matrix. There's a glitch in the Matrix,
I think
Jeffrey.
so. I did not throw that far enough at all. Try that again. Here, I'll just set Hannah
Yeah.
on fire. It's fine. She can take it.
Mr. Monster makes a good point too, that when it comes to the cannibals, you don't really want to know how the sausage is made. So,
Okay, I'm gonna kill these guys fast enough that we can get back in the car and escape. Or maybe we'll switch cars. Maybe we'll switch cars and we won't even realize it because these cars look the same. Okay, let's hit up the next topic.
Okay, one of the other things is that all container icons are now visible through walls in sites that you own, but have not fully scavenged yet. One of the previous changes that we made was making it so that you could see container icons for any site that you had secured. Unfortunately, that wasn't actually happening for like outposts you own, let's say. So if you claimed an outpost before you'd actually scavenged all the items out of it, you wouldn't see the container icons for your own outposts. So now, if you haven't finished scavenging an outpost, you'll see all the container icons through walls, just like you would in a site that you've secured, essentially.
Yeah, so I've newly
you can-
secured this site, so you can see that I'm seeing the icons through the walls right now. And what used to happen is if I claimed this outpost and then left for a while and came back, I wouldn't be able to see all of the icons through the walls. So now, if I leave this outpost and then come back later on, I will, because I own this site, I'll automatically be able to see all of the icons and things.
Yeah, and especially because you don't, when you have an outpost, you don't have a container count or anything anymore, so it's vital that you be able to see the icons instead.
Yeah,
To know that you still have stuff there. Yeah. I know that was the problem I always had. It was like, wait, did I scavenge this all? Because there's no indication of that there's containers left.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be all sorted out now, thankfully.
All right.
The next thing we have on our list is that player characters are now less sensitive to doors while sprinting. So you're less likely to suddenly bash your way into a building that you were intending to just run right past. This was a big pet peeve for me. That the doors acted like black holes essentially as you sprinted by them. So you could be running
door to sprint past.
you could essentially be running parallel to a building, and because you ran near a door, it would suck you through it essentially, and you'd smash your way through.
Yeah, so now I can actually run past a door. Look, I just ran past a door.
Yeah,
What?
that was one of those things that, like, during a playtesting, like it kept coming up, and like I was like, you know what, I don't think it's going to be that hard to fix, and it's driving me crazy. So I literally took like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is actually a pretty simple fix. So I'm glad to have that happen. You want your player to feel like they have agency over their characters, and not a mind of their own.
It's so fun to be able to run past this door back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so the next thing on our list is that bounties that formerly stated that you needed to kill enemies from stealth now more accurately describe their requirement as while crouched.
Yeah, that's right. So, because it's really like a lot of those bounties, they work if you've got a loud gun. They work if you know, like you could, you could, I don't know, throw a bomb at a zombie or something, and it would still count. Like the point wasn't quiet. The point is just you're doing it from a crouching position. Now, we kind of suspect that if you're crouching and you're taking zombies out, there probably is some stealth involved. We still want, atmospherically, we wanted it to feel like you're in stealth. But really, I mean, it would be really, really complicated and probably frustrating for you if we set it up so we actually made sure that no zombies were detecting you in order to give you credit. So yeah, it's just checking to see if you're crouched, and so now we're more clear about that in the text.
Yeah. And the next thing on the list is that the Red Talon officers' quarters now counts as a latrine for survivors with digestive problems.
This is my favorite patch note I've ever read in my life. So what it really means is you've got characters who have the digestive like traits that involve digestive problems, and characters with those traits, they're happier if you have a nice latrine available for them. That makes perfect sense. The problem was that the Red Talon officers' quarters, it's a bedroom, but it's a bedroom that has the advantages of a latrine. Now, it's not formally a latrine, but it offers a lot of the same benefits as a latrine. And so it was weird that if you replaced your latrine with the Red Talon officers' quarters, you would lose that advantage of making characters with digestive problems happy. And so we added that feature in so that there would never be a reason why you wouldn't want to replace a latrine with a Red Talon officers' quarters. But what that means is you can kind of tell yourself a little story about what's going on. That you've got your Red Talon officers' quarters, and for some reason, people with digestive problems consider it to be a latrine. So, anyway, my favorite patch note I've ever written. I'm very, very I'm happy that 7 years ago I joined Ed Labs so that it could culminate in me writing that patch note, and now my career is basically complete.
This is what it was all building towards.
That's very similar to the only time my personal work in a game has ever been written about was the bathrooms from Heartland.
Oh, that's right. Somebody just came and just looked at all of the bathrooms and just looked at all the love and detail that went into dressing out the furniture and everything, and just it was like a Kotaku article or like a Polygon article about it.
Yeah, it was one of those. So yeah, I'm so proud.
What you know.
The bathrooms of State of Decay are some of the best ever, apparently.
Bullet point on the box.
So what's left? Okay, so we got the user experience improvements.
Yeah.
Oh, broken achievements. Can I tell this story?
Oh, please go for it.
Okay, so broken achievements is a pretty common problem for customer service, our customer service department to deal with. Because there's all kinds of reasons why, for some reason, an achievement might have not fired. Maybe you briefly were disconnected from Xbox Live. Maybe there's some weird edge case in the game, and it's always hard to tell if a particular report of a missing achievement represents a serious problem in the game, or if it's just somebody had a weird edge case. But luckily, my sister actually ran into a problem where she had completed a couple of legacies and realized she didn't have the achievements for the legacies. And she pointed out to me, and I verified everything, and I was like, oh yeah, there should literally be no way you should not have gotten these achievements. That's crazy. And so I reported it to Henry and to Joe and asked about it, and it turns out there was actually a serious problem over on just the way on the way the achievements are set up. One that's too technical for me to explain, but there was a problem that like about a dozen of our achievements were actually pretty regularly not firing for people, and we had no idea. So it's fixed now, and actually, so the list of achievements. Do you want to just rattle off just the titles of the achievements real quick?
I'll just go through them.
The full details are going to be in the patch notes that we release on the website when the update comes out. But yeah, go for it real quick. Yeah.
So the achievements that were broken that should now be fixed includes Sayonara, Heart of Darkness, These Dreams, Total Eclipse, barley and spoiled blueberries. Be still, my dog of war. I am the law. Speedy delivery. If you build it, they will come. The game is afoot. Bounty collector, collect them all. It looks good on you though. And after the fix, you should receive retroactive credit for nearly all of the above achievements if you were one of the players who had missed out.
There's only 2 that you can't get retroactive achievements for. One of them is for getting a character killed. So good luck. I'm sure you can make that happen if you really want it to.
Shouldn't be hard.
And the other one was barley and spoiled blueberries, which is the one for killing a bloater. So you just got to kill another bloater, and that one should work.
Yeah, luckily I don't think those are too hard to do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it's just miscellaneous bug fixes. We got a lot of like smaller notes. I don't know. Do we want to just rattle them off real quick? We got 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I might as well just hit them up really quick. So we made several minor mission fixes, corrected some typos, misleading icons, and small bugs with the missions. We also made several minor map fixes, correcting missing markup and missing containers, stuff like that. We fixed an incorrect icon on the Choose Your Own Leader screen. We fixed an area in Drucker County where you could submerge yourself completely underwater and stand there like some kind of crab person.
Another one of my favorite patch notes.
We fixed a problem that could cause a non-player character to run forever into the edge of a platform. Also fixed a bug that could cause certain rare characters to spawn with a close combat weapon.
But without a close combat weapon. So if they had certain traits, sometimes the sort of the inventory list, the loot table item basically would sort of determine what their close combat weapon was supposed to be, would be empty, and so they wouldn't get a close combat weapon, which could be very inconvenient.
Yeah, that seems bad.
Punching zombies.
We also fixed some missing audio on the saw blade sword for when you attack a plague heart while exhausted. And smoke will no longer render heavy weapons ineffective against zombies.
Which is a weird one. Like if you threw a smoke bomb and were trying to hit zombies in the smoke, you would just whiff over the zombies and nothing would happen.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
And that's it. I mean,
yeah.
It took us the entire stream to get through all of those patch notes. There's a lot going on, we didn't even talk much about the previous 2 streams.
I mean, that's not talking about all the giant things like the sliders and the open range pack. Like, yeah, sliders is a huge change. So that's amazing. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I'm constantly surprised by how much is getting, like, you know, when you're working on it, you're doing your individual pieces and you're kind of doing it step by step. But that's when you actually see the patch notes and you're like, oh my god, there is a lot of stuff in these updates.
So, speaking of, that situation you were talking about, when you realized it was a 10-minute fix to fix the fact that when you're just running past a door, sometimes characters would get magnetized to it. We've got a question from Tragar D, who asks, does this mean outpost doors will no longer be locked? So this is not an update 21, but Eric did heroically find a solution to that bug too.
It basically the exact same story. During one of our, because we have weekly playtests, basically every Friday. Either the company we playtest one of the projects that we're currently doing. Sometimes it alternates, but we're doing our normal State of Decay 2 playtest, and one of the things that came, like, I've commented on it multiple times in previous playtests, was that, like, why is my own outpost door locked to me? And then someone else had the same issue while we were playtesting. Because we're on chat during these playtests and we're kind of like talking about our experiences as we go. And at that, I'm like, this can't be that hard again. And so and looked at the code, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is another simple fix. So that is something that I have fixed, and it's not coming in this release.
Yeah,
but
probably wait for it for a couple of months, till we get a chance to fully test it out and everything. But it'll be in a future update. But I'm really excited about it. It's been in that way for 2.5 years, and now it's going to be changed.
Yeah, so not just it should be doors should not be locked for not just your outpost, but also friendly enclaves, which is also a little ridiculous when they're like, "Come on in."
Come in. Like, bash through our door first, though.
Or jump through the window. That's my favorite. That's my go-to. Yeah, and that's those little quality of life fixes I think are my favorite things. Yeah. It's tough. You've got so many things like on the list of things we want to do that like it's always hard to be like, well, until you dig in, you don't really know how long something's going to take.
Yeah, because just as often we run into situations where something sounds like it's going to be an easy bug to fix, and then you open it up and start looking at it, and it takes you days to even figure out what's going on. And so we can't just sort of irresponsibly just tackle whatever bug lies in front of us. We got to set priorities and make sure that we're doing things in the right order. So that's why we sometimes don't get to these easier fixes for a while, because we don't know which ones are the easy ones until we devote the time to it.
Yeah, there's always a possibility of big under the hood complications, or like, oh, it's going to affect a lot of content. A lot of content's going to need to be retested, stuff like that. So but there's certain ones that are just like, this actually could be a really small thing. I am pretty sure, because I have an idea of how the code works behind the scenes, and just going and double checking, like, okay, yeah, that is small. Those are my favorite. When you're like, I think it should be easy, and it is. That's the best.
It's so rare and special, but when it works, it's great.
It's unfortunately very rare. Games are super complicated. There's a lot going on, especially in a live game where you could break so many things. So,
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Did you check an injured survivor into the infirmary?
I don't know. I don't think I did. Is Joe suggesting that we should? We're out of time, so I don't know if I have time to do that. I kind of need to wrap up the stream.
Oh yeah.
But that is actually I might have built a base without an infirmary. So that is a whole different problem. We can't solve that right now. But so one thing I do want to say though is when you see the patch notes that we release, once the update comes out and you see the patch notes, you'll see that we're actually including links now to the wish list items that each of those patch notes is responding to. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But we wanted to really call out the sort of the help that we've gotten from the community to find these high priority issues and help us know what you guys are looking for. And so if you want to go to support.stateofdecay.com, you can find the wish list link there. You can see things sorted by how much they've been upvoted. You can see what the popular things are, and you can add your own. And we would really love to hear from all of you. Well, a subset of you with interesting ideas to get your opinions and sort of be able to fold your input into all the other factors that are determining what we do next. So between that and the contest, that's another thing I should remind you of. Go to xbox.com/HOF to sign up for the Hall of Fame contest. Between October 16th and 18th, you can speedrun the Plague Hearts on a standard zone, and if you're the fastest, you could win an Xbox Series X. And so, with all those reminders out of the way, let's quickly say goodbye to Eric. Eric, thank you for coming in here. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun to talk about this stuff. It's always a thrill developing it when you know it's going to be a big hit, because I know I'm excited about it, so it's awesome to be able to be presented in person.
And then Brant, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I'm going to go along with Chris Goes to Paris and say Eric is hot.
I mean, AC's not on, so you're not wrong.
But as usual, thanks to all of our friends for showing up here. Thanks to everybody. Your support is what allows us to keep doing this. And let's keep making this game better. So enjoy.
And with that, we just did 3 solid weeks of preemptive reveals of what's going to be in the next update. If you like this kind of stuff, you can subscribe to our channel. You'll just always, you can ring the bell or whatever. You can get all the notifications so you can find out when new stuff is coming to State of Decay 2. We're really excited for when Update 21 launches. We don't have a date yet, but it's very, very soon. So, keep an eye on all of our socials. And with that, we'll get out of here. 20 seconds from now, after we stare at this screen for a little while.
I'm going to have to change my name to Cat Food.
Yeah.
Brant,
there was a lot of follow-up chat involving your cat food fetish.
That's your new gamer tag.
And
Fancy feast. That is so not me.
Fancy Feast Gerald.
Nothing.